So everybody, I'm Jeff Root. We got Jack Heller here and Candice from Prosperity. So we're going to go over the three core life insurance products Prosperity Life has. And the real reason I wanted to get Jack on with us today is to explain just how different and agent-friendly Prosperity is in the market. I don't think a lot of people understand just kind of the small things that make Prosperity great. And in my opinion, one of the most agent and consumer-friendly products on the market. And I want to go over those small things that I think a lot of agents overlook when evaluating a company. So thanks for joining us, Jack and Candice. If you guys could just introduce yourself real quick and tell us just a little bit about Prosperity Life, and then we'll kick this thing off.
Sure, absolutely. Go ahead, Candice. Take yourself off mute.
I know. It's a lot of buttons here. Thanks, guys. I'm Candice Dawson. I'm your Assistant Vice President, Sales and Marketing, your one-on-one representative for anything that you need. I know I've talked to several of you guys before, and we're always here happy to help you. I've been with the company for 10 years now, working with Jack for the last 5 or 6. And like I said, we're just always excited to hear the feedback from the field on what's going well and what we can improve on. And that's how we grow to be as good as we are today.
Awesome. So go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, I'm Jack Heller, and I apologize. I am fighting a head cold. But, to start out with, I want to say that I've been in this business for 33 years. I spent 16 years on the street selling, so I understand what agents go through on a day-to-day basis. Everything we do at Prosperity on our side, and our side includes myself and Candice and our team underneath us, is that we are very agent-centric. We understand that our customer is you, the agent. It's not the insured. So what we really do is concentrate on what we can do to make your life easier, as Jeff was trying to point out, and we'll try to hit on a couple of those things. I saw Matt King join in just a couple minutes ago. Matt took our product on about a year ago and, has absolutely done a tremendous job with it. So appreciate that. And, we really like dealing with agents. That's my team's focus. Like I said, 100% focus. So a couple of reasons why I think you're going to find we're so agent friendly is, for starters, everything we do, as I said, is driven around the agents. So you will get an instant decision on all of our products, no matter what. So you'll either get an approval right there on the spot. You'll get a rejection on the spot. If it's the new Vista plan, where you have a level plan, a graded plan, and a modified, it will adjust right on the spot, and it will adjust both ways. And what I mean by that is, most companies, if you're not sure and you start with a graded plan and they would have qualified for the level, the company won't change that. They'll just leave it on the graded plan. We'll actually tell you right there on the call that they qualify for a better plan, i.e. More insurance or a lower premium, just like we'll tell them if they don't qualify for as good a plan. So I always tell agents, when you're not sure, you're better off going with the higher priced one, because I've never had a customer get mad at me because I was able to give them more insurance or charge them less money when I was done with the presentation. So that's one of the things we do. All of our products, I'm very simple-minded when it comes to a lot of our products. So we keep everything the same. So whether you're selling, again, the level, the graded, the modified, we never change the ages. We never change the benefit levels. We never change the commission levels to you, the agent. So everything stays exactly the same, because, again, nothing's worse than you just told somebody, hey, I got the greatest product for you. You're healthy. You're 77 years old. And then as you're going through the app process, they remember that heart attack they had 4 months ago. And some companies say, well, then you're too old. You can't qualify for that plan. And now, after you've just told them you've given them the best plan out there, now you have to pivot and switch. So again, we don't ever want to put you in that compromised position. Okay. We do pay commissions daily. We take applications in multiple ways. And what I mean by that is, we'll take applications in e-app, voice app. We're working on a whole new app process that's really exciting. We'll take paper apps. Shoot, we'll take smoke signals if it's daylight and the winds are under 10 miles an hour. So we want to make things as easy again as possible for you.
Yeah,
we get
Jack.
you.
Jack,
Go ahead.
real quick, I just want to touch on one thing that you kind of glazed over that I think is a huge reason to work with Prosperity as well, is you guys pay the same commissions on level, graded, and modified.
Correct.
And on age, right? There's no, even if older clients, you don't even do a commission reduction on the olders people.
Nope. Well, we'll never do a commission. So on those, you're Jeff, you're 100% right. When we talk about the family freedom term or simplified issue term product, we don't lower the commission for the shorter duration. So that product has a 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. Most companies, if you sold the 10 or the 15, they would lower the commissions on those as well. We never do that to you, the agent. Again, we just keep it as simple as possible. We don't charge you back for early death claims. The only time now, if you were to get, for instance, a 9-month advance and the person died after 6 months, we would take 3 months of advance back, but those 6 months of earned commission, as long as we pay the death claim, you keep that commission. So again, just trying to keep things as simple and as easy for you. Most importantly is our agent portal, and everything you need is in one spot. So you have your, through your benchmark site, all your plans, your trainings, your commission statements, your ability to look up all your applications, everything you need right there. And then the team Candice, on top of all her other responsibilities, also runs our agent care team. And they're there to answer your calls, all day long, answer your emails. Candice, why don't you touch on them real quick and a couple of things, highlights there.
Yeah. So, one of the pieces of feedback that we consistently get from the agents is how fast and how responsive we are to your inquiries. We've got a team of 7 folks on the phones Monday through Friday, Eastern Standard Time. They're here for you 8:30 to 5 p.m. If you've got a technical issue or just an basic underwriting question, if you're, confused on how to do something inside your portal, we will hand walk you through that. Our emails, if you email us, a lot of times you'll see email responses after hours. My team, they're amazing. They're multitaskers. They can talk to one agent on the phone while answering another agent's email. So, whether you're calling, no matter what time zone you happen to be located in, we will make sure that you get a response that you need very, very quickly. We will also follow up if you've not heard from another department. Maybe you've got a question outside to new business or customer service and you haven't gotten any feedback yet. We will jump on that, escalate it, make sure you get that answer that you deserve in a very timely fashion. So that is definitely one of our huge highlights for our company.
Yeah, absolutely. So why don't we just on a real high level, Jeff, if you want, why don't we just touch on some of the highlights of all 3 of the products and make sure that everybody understands, what we have and what we have to offer, if that works for you.
Do it. Absolutely.
Don't forget our cash bonus program has just restarted for the year. And I apologize, I didn't have the actual new flyer loaded into this training deck yet, but it is re-kicked off January 1st, running through the end of March on all settled business. That 10% cash back, the minimum is only $25,000 in settled premium during that quarterly period. And like I said, we just paid out the Q4 from last year. And I think we had, I know at least 25 qualifiers that earned, an extra paycheck on top of their already great commissions that we're paying. So it's out there.
Yeah.
Don't forget, it's a great program.
Must be a great bonus because Foresters and Mutual both just copied it and announced it.
I was just going to say that. Guys. You guys led the way in there. It's a good one. And I've seen you guys cut $10,000 plus checks to some agents with us. So you get, so it's a big thing. That's on top of your commission. So if you really lead with Prosperity and you write $25,000 over 3 months, guys, on top of the commission levels you have, they're going to pay you an extra 10% fully advanced, right? It's no, there's no 75% advance, 100% advance on that 10%, direct into your bank account.
Yes, sir. So this is the new product that we came out with last year. Honestly, we launched it in March and we were hoping that, it would get a little momentum and get rolling down the hill. And, by this time in January of 2023, my goal was to do over $1 million in sales in 1 month on this product. Unfortunately, it took us until July last year to actually have our first $1 million month. And this month in January, we did almost $2 million in paid premium on it. What you're going to find on this product is not only is it simplified issue, so you're going to get an immediate decision. Price-wise, I don't think anybody can compete with us. As a matter of fact, I know nobody can compete with us. And all your living benefits are included in the price that you're going to see. So again, this is not meant as a high-level training. This is just an overview for you. If anybody has questions, we're happy to go into more detail at a different time. But this plan is ages 18 to 75. It has a face amount of starts at $50,000, goes up to $500,000. There's never any medical exam, no swabs, no anything else. It's an easy-to-use e-application. This is the one we will not even take any other way except in an e-application. We don't take a paper application because we want you guys to have an instant decision on it. You know, we're going to look at their height and weight. They're going to answer the medical questions. If they answer anything, yes, they won't qualify for it. So again, it's real simple as you're going through. You know the questions that need to be answered. Level premiums between 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30 years. On the term. The big thing on that is the term must end at age 85. So for example, if you sell a 75-year-old, the longest term you could get is 10 years. If you sold a 50-year-old, you could get a 30-year term, and so on and so forth. Again, I mentioned earlier, but we do not reduce the commissions on this plan either. So if you sell a 10 or a 15, you're going to get paid the same commission as a 25 or 30. To me, one of the best things about this plan is it is convertible to a whole life plan up until their 10th anniversary or until their 75th birthday. We've all know the stories of somebody who's healthy, they need a term plan. 3 years later, they get diagnosed with something that would stop them from being able to qualify for a plan in the future. They can convert this to a whole life so they have something for the rest of their life. It does have the living benefits, critical illness, chronic illness at no additional premium. Again, why sell this plan? Because you are going to get that instant underwriting decision. It also does have an optional death benefit rider, and it does have a waiver of premium and a child term rider as well that they can purchase additionally.
Awesome. I didn't know it was convertible. That's incredible. That's really unique. That's if any term agents out there, I know we have a lot of final expense agents on this call, but a lot of term agents out there know just how important that is and how many simplified issue plans don't have that convertibility option. So that's big.
Exactly. And this page shows you the levels. So up to the 500,000, you can get up to the age of 45. What's really, we get more compliments on the 66 to 75. They can't believe a 75-year-old can buy a $100,000 simplified issue term plan with us, but they can. That's really something that's something that we are able to do. Are we able to automatically sell the family freedom term? Jeff, you'll have to add that to everybody's contract. Just to takes a couple seconds per person, but
guys, email contracting@digitalbga.com to add it to your contract, and a great thing about Prosperity is we can add that just instantly, and you will instantly have access. So our team can do that for you.
Yeah, as far as the signature process, I saw a question come up on that. That's whether or not they're doing it on an e-application. They just sign it right there on the telephone or on their computer, and you'll be able to just sign that right away. Candice, this plan, help me out. My head cold is clogging my brain. We take voice apps on this one as well, don't we? No, we don't. This is the one we don't. Okay.
This is remote e-application or face-to-face e-application. Yeah, same options as we have on prime term to 100 and final expense. Just no voice signature is that we just don't see a need for it in this demographic. So we've not done it.
Okay. There is a policy fee on this. It's $80. It is commissionable to you guys. Underwriting decision is simple. It's an approved. There is a height and weight chart. We do require a driver's license for this plan because there is an MVR requirement. We look at the MIB. And I will caution you on the smoking rates. Those of you who have sold our new Vista plan know our smoking rates are based off of cigarettes only. This is a true nicotine rate policy, like most insurance plans are. So we will look back at any nicotine product on this one. So just a little point of difference there.
For a longer look back on this one too. So just be cautious with that.
3 years on the look back on the nicotine product on that. Okay. So when we talk about the accelerated death benefits, another thing that makes us a little bit unique on this is, so our terminal illness is like everybody else's. It's, if they have less than 12 months to live, they can get up to 95%, right at that point. That's totally up to them if they choose to do that. But when you get to the critical illness, what's interesting about this is they can get this benefit paid as often as they want, as long as they wait 180 days and can only get it once during a calendar year. So if they have a critical illness, including a heart attack, stroke, cancer, kidney failure, major organ transplant, and we even include ALS, and they get diagnosed, they can get up to 25% once per calendar year. But if they got it in December, they'd have to wait 180 days. They couldn't get it again in January. But if they have a heart attack this year and then they have another one next year, they can get the benefit a second time. A lot of companies out there only allows per illness one time during the lifetime. We will allow multiple uses for the same or different illnesses. And then when you get to the chronic illnesses, which is 2 of your 6 ADLs, 2 of your 6 ADLs would be, again, can be done every single time. There was a question about, can they get it 5 times? It's 25% of the remaining balance. So they don't get, let's just say they did 100,000. First time they would get $25,000 because that'd be 25%. The next time they would get 25% of the remaining balance of 75%. So there is not technically a limit on how many times they could get that. Hope that makes sense to everybody. But again, on the chronic illness, as long as their doctor says they're still suffering from chronic illnesses every year, if they wanted that money every year, they could get it out early and to take that. Again, it's coming off their death benefit, so they're just taking the money earlier, so it just gives them that option. Okay. We do have an accidental death benefit rider. It is up to 250 max. So even if somebody did apply for a 500, the most they could get on that is 250. Otherwise, if it's below 250, it's the same amount. So if they got 150,000 coverage, they get 150,000 on the accident rider. That goes up to age 75. The waiver premium, same as everybody else's out there. No real difference on that one. And then our child term benefit rider, I always say this is how we find out who your most favorite grandchildren or children are, because you can only have it on 5 at the same time. But if the child were to pass away, they could get $5,000, $10,000, or $15,000 for that child. And then, or I'm sorry, if you were to pass away, the child would get that amount paid to them. And we sort of call that like our Head Start, where they would get money to help them, to start their college fund or whatever the case might be.
This is a life policy on the child. Jack, don't confuse it with our other product. It's a term on the children.
See, that's what happens when you're trying to do things when you're not feeling good. You get confused yourself. Take over, Candice.
Yeah, it's take a deep breath there, Jack. Don't confuse this with one of our other products. It's an easy thing to do. This does pay out a death benefit if on a covered child up to 5 children per main policyholder per post insured. Again, it does fall off once they reach age 21, and then if there's another eligible grandchild, they can also add that. The term rider for the children is also convertible. So if the proposed insured, if the main policy owner dies, that child term is actually convertible over to a whole life as well. So that's a really neat feature built in.
Great.
And then we just kind of put together this little chart just to kind of outline. There's so many variables, throughout this product. So putting it all in one little chart. This is all available on the portal. Once you've got the Family Freedom Term product added to your contract, you will see all of this training material. It's a lot to take in. Don't feel like you need to memorize this. It's just to give you an overview, highlights of the product, and get you interested and ready to sell it. So all this is out there on your portal. We have a neat little knockout guide that we put together, knowing that this is a more complex product than the new Vista or the Prime Term that you may already be familiar with. So we put together a really nice little knockout guide that will show you exactly the declinable conditions, the look back periods. It has the height and weight chart in it, all the prescription knockouts, and it's a 3-page document. So it's a really handy tool if you're just getting started. If you can kind of, take in that information, it'll help you feel more comfortable right away. So as we mentioned, the look back on the nicotine and tobacco is actually 36 months. It's not the 12-month look back that we do on the final expense. So just try to keep the two separated. I know this is going to be tough to see on your screen, but this is part of that just knockout guide that we created. Again, just kind of at a glance on what we can take for this plan and what we can't. And so again, this is on your portal. And I guess before we move on, let me see if there were any questions about family freedom that we can answer.
So I see a question here. If somebody has to host some panelists, if it's done through the same app that you do New Vista through Live app.
Yeah, all of our plans and products are available through Live app. And again, once the family freedom term is added to an agent's contract, it's not instantaneous that they'll see it in Aptical right away. It actually does take, I don't know if it's overnight, but it's very fast, but they will definitely see it by the next day in Aptical. So they would see it in the agent portal right away. They would see the commission schedule and everything for it. But on the Aptical side, there is just a little bit of a delay because it has to transfer over to that system, but it's very fast. And if they need it right away, just call us and we can add it immediately. So very quick.
And I will tell you, when you start to look at the pricing on this, Mutual is known as the cheapest in this space. We come out about 10 to 15% cheaper than Mutual in most cases, with the living benefits already included. So
is that comparing to their Term Life Express?
Yes.
Okay.
So, all right. Let's which one are we going to do next, Candice?
Let's do final expense.
Okay, why don't you do it?
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, real quick before we move on, Candice, Mark's asking, how do you underwrite diabetes?
If it's before the age of 50, it's not going to go through. If it's after the age of 50, it almost always goes through the onset.
So, okay, onset, got it.
Good question. Speaking of diabetes, our final expense is kind of known for its diabetic friendliness. So, one of the main highlights that, when agents ask us what sets us apart from all the other final expense plans out there, we don't ask about insulin. We don't ask about the age of onset if they are diabetic. The only question we ask on the application is, are there any complications of diabetes? So the vast majority of your diabetics, well-controlled, healthy diabetics are going to be approved for a level plan. Of course, if they have other conditions that could factor in, but your controlled diabetes without complications, they'll go level on the New Vista plan. We've got 3 great plan options to cover those health conditions that may exist. We've got the level, the graded, and the modified all in one product. And again, same commissions on all of those. Your smoker rates are cigarettes only. So that's why we try to point that out on the other products, because they are, very different. But on the final expense plan, if you've got someone using, electronic cigarettes, or maybe they're a pipe smoker, chewing tobacco, cannabis user, all of that is still going to go through as a non-smoker. Smoker rates are truly only 12-month look back and for traditional cigarettes only. Social Security billing. So this is really how you keep those policies on the books as you line up those dates with their Social Security deposits. And we, cracked the code on that a couple of years ago, and it really did start to set us apart. In this industry, because we get the billing right. And that's really vastly important for keeping those policies on the books. So you'll see all the options. It does get a little confusing looking at all the options. because sometimes they're getting paid maybe the first or the third of the month, and then sometimes they're getting paid the second, third, or fourth Wednesday. And again, it's all a matter of how Social Security is paying them, and we can help you work through how to figure that out. We do have almost every state available for final expense except for Connecticut, Montana, New Hampshire, North Dakota, South Dakota, and of course in New York. We do have the final expense plan, but it is sold on a paper app, face-to-face only. It has a different name and slightly different features. Well, really just the age brackets on the modified and graded plans are a little bit different. And of course the commissions, unfortunately, are much different, but that's New York. So let us know if you have a need for that. We can definitely look at that for you. But again, it's a face-to-face sale on a paper app in New York only. So again, same things on the other, on this plan as the other. We sell it through Live App Aptical. They are able to provide a point of sale decision, underwriting decision right then and there. We do offer a voice signature on this plan. So if you have someone who is not tech savvy and they cannot figure out how to do an email signature, no problem. You can still call in and do an interview and do a voice signature on this plan. As well as a face-to-face app is also out there too. We'll cover your insureds ages 50 to 80, ages 50 to 74 on that accidental death benefit rider. You can't issue that after age 65. It does expire at age 121, so it will cover them for their entire life. The face amounts can go as low as $1,500, as high as $35,000. We do say that state variations apply. The state of Washington requires you to do a minimum of $5,000. So that's not our rule, that's theirs. But that is the only state variation I'm aware of as far as face amounts go. We've already mentioned the level degraded, the modified, and we can take a look at those different questions on what will qualify them for which plan. Premiums, so we can take an EFT, so bank account, routing and account number, Direct Express, MasterCard, again, that's that Social Security benefit debit card. Bank card tied to their checking or savings account is also fine. Just know that we only will pay an advance commission if it's a bank account EFT, ACH draft, or the Direct Express MasterCard. So again, if they're on direct bill or if they're paying by a traditional just bank card tied to their checking account, those will be paid as earned.
But you are advancing on Direct Express.
Yes, and that's kind of new. We started that back in maybe July of last year, probably about 6 months now.
Yes. Yeah, that's incredible, guys. Can you just talk us through your experience? I mean, obviously you've seen the data on the Direct Express business, and did that influence your decision? You're just so good at billing, better than everybody else that they
it all comes down to the the billing date, right? Getting that date correct. And we know that if they're using a Direct Express card, that we can sync the date of the draft up with their Social Security deposit, and just those two things tied together. We get there first. We draft at 6 a.m. So the deposit has just hit their account. They haven't had a chance to go in and withdraw the remaining balance yet. So that's really what changed it, was having a couple years under our belt of looking at the placement and persistency of these cases on Direct Express. And we found that they are really almost better than a bank account draft, because we're not guaranteed that they're knowing when their paycheck's coming in, right? So that's really what makes it different.
That's incredible. And those are the small things, like the billing things that you guys draft on the Social Security date, not just on the Social Security day. A lot of companies do that, but the first to take it out that morning, like the fact that you guys even have that strategy to do that is killer.
Yeah, just to be clear on that, though, we do not advance until that first draft goes through. So we make sure that the Social Security billing card is correct that the agent entered. But once we get the first one to go through and we know the money's there, as Candice says, we're the first in line to grab it every month. So
awesome. And again, I do want to just touch on, before you move on from the level graded modified, I know we mentioned it before, but same commission level, right? So if you're at 110%, whatever you're at, it's the same for graded and modified. But you guys do modified a little bit differently, if I recall. I don't remember the exact details. If I'm making this up, correct me, but I feel like you guys do modified differently.
You got it perfect, Jeff. Where most people, so I know Candice is going to go over the level of the graded, which is 30/70, but modified, which most companies call ROP. So where we do different on it is most companies, if the person had paid 1 month's premium, let's say, for example, they would return and then they would pass away. They would return to the beneficiaries that 1 month premium of $100. They would add 10% or they would send $110. Prosperity annualizes it day one. So although we've only received $10 or $100, we would take that 100, multiply it times 12, get to 1,200. We would still add 10%. So we would actually send $1,320 back versus the 110 somebody else might send back. In year two, it goes to 231. And again, it's because what I said, we keep things simple. If somebody says to you, well, what if my, they're helping out their mom and says, what if mom dies 6 months into it? You'd have to get out your calculator and figure out, well, when did the payment go through? And depending on how many months was somebody else with us, day one, what it's going to be for the entire year. So.
Yeah, I mean, to me, if you're, agents should be giving Prosperity Modified a hard look if they think they need to go guaranteed issue and they can qualify for your modified, because it's not just how you pay, they're going to get more than a guaranteed issue. It's that the chargeback, right? If somebody dies in the first year or two on GI products, you get charged back your whole commission. The way you guys do it, they're just charged back the unearned commissions. So you have those two going for you on your modified plan. I think agents would be better served if they looked at your modified before going to GI to make sure that they can't qualify for your modified. It's just a much better product for the client, and you're much more protected on the agent side of things if something were to happen.
Correct.
All right, cool.
Go ahead, Candice.
Sorry, I was busy looking at some of the chat responses there.
I got those.
Okay, very good. All right, so I think we kind of briefly touched on the level of graded, the modified level, of course, is your day one coverage. We're going to pay out the full death benefit on day one if they're healthy enough for that. The graded plan, it's 30% in the first year, 70% in that second year, and then full face on the third year going forward. And then the modified, I think you guys covered that pretty well. We definitely pay a better benefit on modified than anybody else out there. So the eligibility, of course, we're looking at the answers to their health questions, their prescription history, and their height and weight. And so all of those factors will play in, but it is a step-down approach. So we're going to start with the knockout questions. I believe there's 6 medical questions. They're very standard across any final expense application. No surprises there. Any yeses to those, of course, will be a decline. Any yes answers in Part B, those are your modified questions. And then steps down to graded. And then, of course, if there's no answers provided and the bill falls within the level plan and we don't see any hits on the prescription history or MIB, then they would qualify for level. Your graded and modified, of course, the pricing is going to go up, but the benefit is still really there if they've got some outstanding health conditions. Every now and then, it may be important to look at our prime term to 100 plan, which we'll talk about next, as that would definitely cover some of those who would otherwise go modified and actually save them some money. This is an example of where this is just showing you the height and weight table for the new Vista plan. You'll see that it's very, very generous. So usually your weight is not going to be a knockout. I will say that anything outside of this chart, if they are shorter than 4'6" or taller than 6'9", it would be a decline. And that's the same on the family freedom term. That chart looks a little bit different, of course, but it is, anything outside of it would still be a decline. They have to fall within this chart. So here's your health questions. We are not going to read these to you guys. Like I said, you have access to all of this in your portal. These are your standard knockout questions. Height, weight. The only thing that I'll caution you on is on the smoker question, if they have been taking Chantix or one of the nicotine replacement type drugs. If they've been taking that longer than 12 months, that sort of tells us they're still trying to quit smoking. And so they may not be answering that question truthfully. So just look at your RX guide. We do provide you an extensive RX guide for the final expense and the prime term product. And generally anything that they could be taking will be listed there. It's going to tell you exactly how they would qualify based on those drugs. So make sure you take a look at those. Here's your modified Part B and Part C graded questions. Just pull your attention down to Part C. These are ever questions. Has a most insured ever been diagnosed, treated, or prescribed medication? So a lot of times we'll hear, well, that's been 7 years or 10 years ago that they took that drug or had that condition. It's an ever question. So it's always going to look back to their full medical history, anything that's available via, electronic records. COPD is really the most common reason that we see cases go graded. We know that comes up very often. It's very important to know that your COPD patients would be graded on our product. So that brings us to, we'll answer any questions that you guys have on the new Vista plan, but that does bring us, we wanted to save some time for the prime term to 100, which we feel is our probably most undersold product. It definitely reaches a niche that can replace most of your guaranteed issue business. We call this our almost guaranteed issue plan. It has some neat features. I'm going to pause for a second and see if there's any questions on new Vista before we.
You want me to do this one, Candice, or you got it?
No, yeah, it's up to you. How are you feeling?
Why don't you go ahead?
Okay. So prime term, this is a graded death benefit term policy. This will cover your insureds up to age 100, and we'll show you what that actually looks like. So it is a 3-year initial graded period. So in the first year, it's a return of premium. In the second year, it's a 30 or 40% graded period, and then or graded benefit. And then in year 3, that increases to a, if my memory serves me, 60 to 70% graded period. It's based on their age at issue, so it does vary a little bit. And then in year 4, this goes to a full face amount through year 20 of that initial term. It's a full face amount death benefit. This plan will stay in place until they reach age 100. Now, to realistically set expectations on this is for your less healthy, and you'll see why when we get to the medical questions. There's only 3 medical questions. This is really greatly designed for someone who has a life expectancy of more than a few years, but probably less than 20 years. So if they're healthy enough to expect to live beyond that 20-year initial term, it's probably better to look at a whole life product for them. But the premiums on this product do not increase. It's a level premium, right? So no increase there. Very simple application process, done through a live app, instant decision, only 3 health questions. So what sets it apart from the new Vista plan, no smoker rates, right? So no have you smoked or not have you smoked questions. The ADB is also available, can double the coverage. Social Security billing, all the same payment options. We still take the Direct Express card. And that's going to be the same across all of our plans. The payment options are going to look identical no matter which product you're selling. So that does help keep things simplified. The issue ages on this one go all the way down to age 40. So this is a great product for somebody who's just not old enough to qualify for New Vista yet. But, someone who does not qualify for Family Freedom term. Face amounts range from $5,000 to $30,000. Like we said, it's not smoker distinct. It is based on their issue age and gender only. All the same billing options are present there. There is no policy fee, which makes this really just financially a good option for many, many clients. And it is just 3 knockout questions. So it's accept or decline based on those 3 knockout questions. We do have an extensive RX guide that tells you, if they're taking certain medications, how they would be treated. We do not have a height and weight table on this. So again, it's an incredibly just simple product. Accelerated death benefit feature, same as New Vista. And then the optional death benefit rider, accidental death benefit rider is the exact same as New Vista. So all of those are identical across plan types.
Hey, Candice, before you go into the questions, something that we just added, I guess in December last year, we now allow you to sell both products at the same time. So let's say you had somebody who was on graded or modified, which put them a little bit higher price wise than what they wanted to do. You could sell like 20,000 of New Vista and 20,000 of this to get to 40,000. You can sell up to 65,000. You could max out both plans if the person wanted. But as you all know, there's sometimes the combination of whole life and term insurance allows a customer to get more life benefit that fits their needs at a price that fits their budget.
Yeah, it's a great point. Previously, we did not allow the stacking of the two products, and we've recently changed that so that we can offer more coverage, which is really nice. So you'll see the health questions here. Really, there's only two. The first one says, within the past 2 years, have you been confined to or advised by a licensed medical profession to be admitted to a nursing home, hospice, extended care, special treatment facility, using oxygen to assist in breathing? If you need assistance with your ADLs, then you're still knocked out. You still don't qualify. That's really the primary question. The second question, and this is where it gets interesting, is it asks, within the past 2 years, have you been diagnosed with any of these major medical conditions? Now, if they have any combination of these medical conditions, but the diagnosis was over 2 years ago, even if they're still taking medications that treat that, even if they're, maybe on some preventative cancer meds, because they had that cancer diagnosis 5 years ago, even though they're in the clear, it's knocking them out from other types of coverage. We can cover those applicants on this plan with any combination of these types of medical history. Like I said, as long as that diagnosis of whatever that condition is was over 2 years ago. And so when you look at the RX guide for this plan versus New Vista, you'll see that they're quite opposite, because we're looking at, a certain look back period of 2 to 3 years for the drugs. On the New Vista plan, we're actually looking to see that they've been taking those drugs longer, at least 2 years, a minimum of 2 years, but we're not concerned that they're still taking them. So if you look up at the same drug in both guides, it's completely opposite what we're looking for as far as whether it's approved or not.
The one I would question or caution everybody, the number one reason we get declines is that Alzheimer's question. People think, oh, they've had Alzheimer's for more than 2 years, but in a lot of those cases, they need help with their ADLs. So it reverts back to question one. So just that's the call I get the most. How come this one got declined? And it's because they had Alzheimer's, which then meant they needed help with their ADLs.
Do be careful with that one.
Yeah, I think the key point in this whole application is that we're diagnosed.
Oh, absolutely. That is the key word. It's not, have you been treated? Have you been taking medication, prescribed medication? It's, have you been diagnosed? It was when was that condition diagnosed? And in most of these cases, it's been more than 2 years. So that's definitely what includes most of our applicants to qualify for this. And then if I can get my screen to change here. So this is kind of how that death benefit breaks down. Like I said, it's even hard for me to memorize it. I have to look back at this chart. So year one of that death benefit, it's a return of premium plus 15% interest, which is actually more than we would pay on the modified. That's just a plus 10 on that first year. So even more return premium in year one. Year two, like I said, it's based on their issue age. It's either 30 or 40% of the face amount. Year three, it goes to 60 or 70% based on their issue age. And then years 4 through 20, it's the full face. After year 20, the death benefit is still there. It is just decreasing 5% annually until they reach age 100. And the best way we can illustrate that is by showing you a sample. So we show you this chart just to kind of show you for an average male age 65 with a $20,000 face amount. His annual premium is $1,700. And this is what his death benefit would look like if he passed in year 1, 2, 3, 4 to 20, or 21 and beyond.
And your customer will get this chart in their policy.
Right.
So everyone will get it, just so you know. So yeah, we love this plan. We think, as Candice says, it's our most undersold plan out there right now. One of our other team members, Jamie, actually came from AIG. He wrote their GI plan when they came out with that plan, and under his knowledge, which is greater than mine when it comes to that plan, about 80% of the AIGs that are sold would qualify for this plan. And what you're going to find is not only is it a great plan, price-wise, it's competitive, commission-wise, I think you'll be really happy with the commissions that you receive, because not only do you get a first year, but you get a renewal commission on this product as well.
That's key. Yeah. Renewal commissions here. Cause I mean, checking basic pricing, you're all in the same range, right? The GI
Right.
products, there's not, I mean, so it's close, right? But agent gets more commission. I mean, the first year, and you get actual renewal commissions, and there's no chargeback on death. And what is missing from the GI carriers is like true Social Security billing. So it's going to stay on the books more. Like, to me, those are the key things. The combination of all that.
You said it very well, Jeff. Thank you. So, we wanted to take the last few minutes that we have here just to talk about the application process. No matter which plan you're selling, it actually works the same way. You just need to choose the correct product name as you're proceeding through the application. We do ask that you do a little homework first before you start the app, just to know A, which product they are best suited for, and B, just to save yourself and your client time when completing that application. So go through the drug list with them, go through the height and weight table, go through the knockout questions, and then decide which product to start down the path with. Now, of course, there's always going to be surprises along the way. We totally get it. They forget things. They don't tell you everything. We get it. And our application is great because it's going to help you fill in the gaps. When they answer a question, maybe a little differently than what our medical records have told us they should be answering that question, we're going to tell you why. We're going to tell you whether it was, a drug they're taking. If we re-ask a question, that is your big clue, because we're really either trying to validate a dual purpose medication they're taking, the purpose of that med, whether it's maybe treating high blood pressure or heart condition, or we're indicating to you, the agent, that perhaps they didn't answer it correctly the first time. So we're trying to give them another option to either rate them up to graded modified, and get them correctly suited for the correct plan type. So we do offer a lot of options. And this is where, it can be overwhelming at times, but if you understand the process, it's actually quite simple. So your standard e-apps, and we offer the new Vista, the Prime Term, and the Family Freedom on a standard face-to-face, in-person meeting e-application. This is definitely the easiest and most simple way. You'll start the application on your device, your tablet or laptop, whatever you're using in the field. Go through those health questions with the individual face-to-face. They'll apply their signatures directly to your tablet or laptop, and then you'll get your instant decision right then and there. The remote e-application is best suited for your applicants who are you're meeting with remotely. Maybe you're doing a Zoom meeting or a telephone call, and they have access to an email. They know how to use email. So we're going to send them an email signature request to complete this application. You'll go through the bulk of it with them. It'll send them an email requesting that they apply their signature to our HIPAA authorization form, which allows us to pull their medical history and underwrite them on the spot. So you get that instant decision. And then, of course, at the end of the application, it's going to require that they sign the final documents by email. So recognizing that may not be the best, application process for some seniors, it's working great on your family freedom term applicants, of course, but the voice signature application is available on our senior products. So that's going to be your prime term to 100 and the new Vista plan. So they can call in. You're going to start the app with them in live app, get through everything except the health questions, really collect their billing, banking information, beneficiary, all that's going to be collected up front. You're going to conference in aftercall to do the 3-way call. They're going to ask the health questions, run the medical history, and provide that instant decision. All the signatures are collected by a voice. So they'll just state, yes, I agree. That applies their voice signature to the application. And then, of course, at the end of any of these application methods, this gets sent back to the home office the following business day. So our new business team will get your applications the following business day. And then one business day after that, we send it out to the agent portal. So it is a 48-hour kind of time period between you taking the application and you seeing it out in your agent portal. And that's kind of one of our most common agent questions as you get started, like, why can't I see this thing yet? And the answer is it just hasn't had enough time to work through our systems yet. Now, we'll tell you that our new business team does send out notifications if something is missing from the application. So if you have any type of NIGO, outstanding requirement on the app, we're going to let you know if the payment was successful or not. If you got any kind of payment rejection, we set up the penny test. We do a pre-authorization to their bank account. So we actually put a couple pennies in instead of taking a penny out. But that helps us establish that we've got the correct routing and account number. So if that fails, you're going to be notified right away. And we're going to ask you to go back to your client and get corrected information for us. Trying to think what else might be relevant. Jeff, maybe you can help me out. What's another common question maybe you guys get as far as processing on the back end?
Yeah, so one thing I want to touch on as well, and just state that you guys have your own tech on the background. So for example, contracting. It's the easiest, most simplest contracting system that's out there. Like if an agent requests a contract, you guys typically have it turned around in 48 hours, probably 24 hours, honestly. Is that
most of the time? Yep.
Yeah.
It depends on the states that are requested. So if you've got an agent who's selling in pre-appointment states, and there's only, I think, 4 of them now.
Georgia, Florida, Pennsylvania, and one other.
Louisiana, Alabama. Yeah. Those states require that we do the full background check, credit check, everything on the agent. We fully contract them upfront before they take an app. And we actually appoint them in the state before they take an application. All the other states let us do that on the back end. So that's why most everyone gets their writing number in about 48 hours, sometimes less than that. But in those pre-appointment states, if you request those up front, then of course we have to do everything up front.
Awesome. So, I mean, I have a question for you guys. What's on tap for Prosperity? Like, what do you guys have coming up? What are you working on? I feel like every year you guys are getting better. And I'm sure some stuff you can't share, but anything you can share, we'd love to hear what you guys are working on.
We do have some new products that will come out in 24, nothing brand new for this year, but we do have 2 big enhancements we're working on. One, we are working on an SMS texting, so you'll be able to do that as opposed to the hello sign, DocuSign, which is a major issue for a lot of seniors. I'm actually flying to New York next week to try to get that locked down and have a better release date for you. So as soon as we know that, Jeff will pass that information along to you guys. The other big one that we're working on that family freedom term is an ROP rider. That's something that we think will be great for sales, really help with retention. But I do want to say our number one issue right now, we're spending over $10 million on upgrading our entire IT platform. Our IT platform dates back years. I'm still trying to figure out what they're going to do with the squirrels in the basement that keep it running now. I hope that is like a retirement home for them. But unfortunately, some of the stuff, and you said it earlier, Jeff, we're very responsive when we turn things around very quickly. Unfortunately, because of that, there's a lot of things we can't we're not going to spend the time and the money to put it on the old system, knowing that we're switching to the new system later this year. So that might slow things down a little bit more than our normal, but we're going to keep moving. And I will tell you, we just came back from a big convention. There was about 4,000 agents at it, and 99.9% of the ideas Candice and I aren't smart enough to think of. We're not out there selling every day. You guys are. So we take those ideas from you guys and we try to get them, that makes sense, implemented and in place as quick as possible.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this, that anybody who sells a bunch of prosperity with you guys loves you guys. Like, you guys are one of the easiest carriers to work with. I feel like a lot of carriers can let you down in some ways. You guys are always there, and I feel like you always make things right. So I'm hoping that a lot of agents got to see kind of the small, all the little things that you guys do to make products really, really good for the agent and for our clients. So the last thing that I'll end on here is just to remind everybody here about the quarterly bonus, because that's just key, guys. I mean, that's just extra commission. So, if you're a full-time agent and you lead with prosperity, think that you're actually 10% above what you are currently getting right now. So, I know it's a big thing. I know other companies are copying you guys, but that's a huge reason to lead with prosperity. And
that 25, Jeff, just so everybody understands, is cumulative. So they don't need to do 25 on each product to get the bonus. They could do 10,000 on FFT and 20,000 on New Vista. That'd be 30,000. They'd qualify and they'd get a $3,000 check.
Yep. Awesome. So all products count towards that 25,000. Perfect. All right. Does anybody else have any questions here for Jack and Candice? If not, then we'll close this thing down.
This was great, Jeff. Hope you get your power back.
I hope so too.
All right. If anybody has any questions, just don't hesitate to reach out on our agent care line to Candice. I'll type that in real quick. That phone number, 866-380-6413.
Yeah, we're option 1 on that line.
Cool. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot for doing this and taking the time out to help us.
Absolutely. Thanks, Candice, for bailing me out.
All right. Feel better, Jack. See ya.
Thanks.
Guys.